We enter the third book, and with it the secret heart of yoga. The first two books prepared us. They calmed our lives, our bodies, our breath, our senses. Now Patanjali leads us inward into the three most interior branches of the path: concentration, meditation, and deep union. They are three steps of a single movement, ever more subtle, through which the mind gathers itself until it merges with what it contemplates. And from this merging, as we will see, extraordinary capacities blossom. Sutra 3:1. Concentration is holding the mind steady on a single point. The sixth branch is concentration. It is the act of placing the mind on one object alone, a point, an image, a sound, the breath, and keeping it there. Simple to say, difficult to do. The mind, as we know, wanders constantly. To concentrate means to bring it back, every time it escapes, to the same point with patience. It is like training a beam of light not to scatter. At first it is an effort of 1,000 returns, but those very returns, repeated, build the capacity. Concentration is the first of the three interior steps, and the foundation of everything that follows. Sutra 3:2. Meditation is the continuous flow of attention toward that single point. The seventh branch is born when concentration matures. If at first we had to keep bringing the mind back, at a certain point the flow becomes uninterrupted. Attention streams toward the object without further breaks, like a thread of oil poured that falls continuously without ever breaking. This is true meditation. There is no longer the effort of returning because one no longer drifts away. There is a stable, fluid presence without strain. The difference between concentration and meditation is the difference between constantly relighting a candle in the wind and a flame that finally burns without flickering. Sutra 3:3. Deep union is when only the object remains, and the one who meditates almost disappears. The eighth and final branch is the summit. When meditation deepens further, something mysterious happens. The sense of self, the "I am meditating," dissolves, and only the object remains, shining on its own as though the mind had emptied itself of itself. The one who contemplates and the thing being contemplated become one. This is deep union, samadhi. There is no longer any separation between the observer and the observed. There is only the pure experience, with no one watching it from outside. It is the state closest to our true nature, the one in which we finally forget the small self. Sutra 3:4. These three together, applied to the same object, form total integration. Patanjali gives a name to the three steps taken as a whole: concentration, meditation, and union, applied to the same object in a single continuous movement. He calls them, all three together, total integration, complete mastery. It is the master instrument of the third book. When an experienced meditator turns this triple force, gathered and unbroken, towards something, he can penetrate its most hidden essence. It is the key that opens every door, and Patanjali is about to show us what lies behind those doors. Sutra 3:5. From mastery of this integration, the light of knowledge is born. Here is the first great fruit. When mastery of this triple concentration is achieved, the light of wisdom is kindled, a direct and luminous knowing that reveals things as they truly are. It is not accumulated learning. It is the immediate vision that arises from a totally gathered mind. It is like focusing a magnifying glass on the sun. Scattered rays burn nothing, but concentrated to a single point they ignite a flame. In the same way, a scattered mind knows little, but gathered to a point it penetrates to the heart of reality. Sutra 3:6. This mastery is applied by degrees. Patanjali adds a wise and practical warning. This power is not to be used immediately on the highest and most difficult realities. It is to be applied by degrees, beginning with what is most accessible and rising, step by step, toward what is more subtle. It is like learning to read. First the letters, then the words, then the books. Trying to grasp the summit without having built the steps leads only to falls. The patience of proceeding in stages is itself part of wisdom. Sutra 3:7. These 3 branches are more interior than the 5 that came before. Patanjali takes stock of the path. The 3 branches we are exploring, concentration, meditation, and union, are more internal than the 5 preceding ones: ethics, posture, breath, and the withdrawal of the senses. Those prepared the ground, acting on behavior and on the body. These act directly on the mind in its innermost depths. It confirms a progression, from the outer to the inner, from the visible to the invisible, from the body to the soul. Every previous branch was necessary, so that these last 3 could be possible. Sutra 3:8. And yet, even these 3 are still external in relation to seedless freedom. And here Patanjali surprises us with a vertiginous humility. Even these 3 interior branches, he says, however deep they may be, are still external in relation to the ultimate state, the seedless freedom he spoke of in the first book. Because even deep union still has an object, a support, a seed. The final state lies beyond even this. It is pure consciousness resting in itself, with nothing left to lean on. It is a precious reminder. However high we climb, there is always a beyond, and the true goal is not any state, however sublime, but the freedom that transcends them all. Sutra 3:9. The first transformation is when the old agitations grow quiet and stillness surfaces. Patanjali now describes, with great subtlety, how the mind changes along this path, through a series of delicate transformations. The first is the moment when the old tendencies toward agitation subside, and, in the intervals between one thought and the next, stillness surfaces. At first, these are only brief spaces of silence between the waves, but they are precious, because they are the first tastes of the calm that will come. Learning to notice and value those small intervals of quiet is already to cultivate them. Sutra 3:10. With repetition, that stillness becomes a calm and steady flow. By repeating the practice, says Patanjali, those brief moments of quiet lengthen and connect, until calm is no longer an exception among the waves but a steady, serene flow moving peacefully along. It is like when, playing an instrument, the passages that were once uncertain become fluid through repetition. Stillness, once a rare visitor, becomes the habitual condition of the mind. It is the sign that practice has put down deep roots. Sutra 3:11. The second transformation is the shift from dispersal to gathering on a single point. The next transformation is the gradual movement of the mind from dispersal, from jumping between one thing and another, to the capacity to remain gathered on a single point. This is the very heart of meditative progress, the many mind becoming the one mind. It does not happen all at once, but like a rising tide. Concentration on a point becomes ever more frequent, more stable, until it becomes the new nature of the mind. Sutra 3:12. The third transformation is when what subsides and what arises become identical. The mind is perfectly still on a single point. The highest transformation in this series is perfect stability. The moment that fades and the moment that arises are equal, identical, because the mind rests on the same object with no variation whatsoever. It is like a flame in a room without a breath of air. It does not flicker at all. The mind is completely gathered, motionless on a single point. This is the state from which all the power of the integration flows, and Patanjali is about to describe its most extraordinary fruits. Sutra 3:13. The same laws of transformation govern all things in their qualities, in time, and in their states. Patanjali broadens his gaze from the mind to the entire world. The same laws of change, he says, apply to everything that exists. All things are transformed in their qualities, in their passage from past to future, in their successive states. A clay pot, a person, a star. Everything is in continuous transformation according to the same pattern. Understanding these laws is not mere abstraction. It is the key that will allow the meditator, by applying total integration to an object, to know its past, its present, and its future. Sutra 3:14. In everything there is a permanent ground that runs through all its transformations. Patanjali adds a profound truth. Beneath all the changes, in everything there is a substrate that remains, a ground that stays the same even as the qualities shift. Gold remains gold, whether it is a ring, a necklace, or a bar. In the same way, in every being there is something stable beneath the flowing of forms. It echoes in the outer world what is also true of us. Beneath our endless moods, beneath the thoughts that come and go, there is the one who observes, the permanent ground that we are. Sutra 3:15. The diversity of transformations arises from the diversity of the underlying causes. Why do things change in different ways and follow different paths? Because the deep causes that govern them are different, the subtle order underlying each. Patanjali, with an almost scientific eye, tells us that nothing is chaotic. Every sequence of transformations has its own law, its own cause. It is an invitation to look beneath the surface of events, to seek the hidden order in the apparent flux of becoming. Sutra 3:16. By applying total integration to these three transformations, one comes to know the past and the future. And here is the first, astonishing practical fruit. By turning total integration, the triple concentration, precisely onto the laws of transformation of things, the meditator gains a knowledge that spans time. He begins to grasp the past and the future of what he contemplates. This is not fairy tale magic. It is the natural consequence of a mind that, perfectly gathered, penetrates the laws of change of an object and reads its entire arc. It is the first in a long series of powers that Patanjali is about to set before us, and which we will explore with wonder and with care in the next chapter. We have crossed the interior threshold of yoga and come to know its most powerful instrument, the total integration of concentration, meditation, and union. We have seen how the mind transforms from dispersal to perfect stillness, and we have had the first taste of the extraordinary fruits that arise from it. In the next chapter, Patanjali will open a fascinating treasure chest, the powers that blossom in the totally gathered mind. We will listen to them with curiosity, but also with the same wisdom with which he himself presents them to us, as marvelous flowers along the path, which are not, however, the destination and which can in fact become the last, subtle temptation.